Hey everyone, welcome to the first reaction stream for the Lower Decks episode, "The Inner Fight." I think we could, fan favorite so far.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it was real good.
yeah, I was at that. I was like, "RC, what did you think?" As if we weren't already talking about this.
I thought it was fantastic. I legitimately did not see like up until a few moments before I did not see the ending coming with what it was
Mm-hmm.
like, what the twist was going to be.
Cause I'd watched it like with Fathery, and we had thought the character that it ended up being Billups. We thought, I was like, oh, that's gonna be Nick.
I thought it was going to be oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. The first officer,
Oh, I have like,
Jack
Ransom. It was funny
Ransom.
actually when went to take off his head, and at that point it was clear it probably wasn't him. I did think it was be Ransom, and I was like, oh, Billups, interesting.
Yeah, Bills was an interesting choice for that. I also
Yeah,
loved the reference to like a full face mask because like yeah, those can be very
I
disorienting and suffocating.
like I've worn masks for like costumes and stuff before. It's weird. It feels so weird.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I hadn't thought about this, but I'm on board, Jill. I would not be mad.
Is that shipping
Uh,
Mariner with
the Klingon from
the Klingon? Okay, yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
don't know how you would spell this. I don't. I mean, it clearly uh Mariner is bi or some version of pan or like into multiple genders.
it's
Um,
the future.
it's the future is the correct answer. It is that costume is very Breenish. That is right.
Yeah,
It's
I could see that.
funny though. I expected with the. I get why it's called the inner fight, but in my head I was trying to come up with some connection to the inner light, and I was like, no, it's just a pun. That's not. It's about Mariner's inner fight.
Yeah,
Um.
but I also because when that has to be on purpose, like that
Oh
title
yeah.
reference. But yeah, I was also expecting some more when I saw the title. I was
This is how
expecting
I did.
some kind of more connection.
Oh, here, that's how I'm working on the fact I'm wearing a Star Trek Picard shirt, or like I'm wearing a Chateau Picard shirt.
Ah, Chateau Picard.
Um, I was just already wearing this, and I didn't feel like changing, and I was like, close enough. It's Star Trek.
I am not.
Uh,
I'm not repping Star Trek. I don't think I actually have a Star Trek like shirt. Um,
how dare
yeah.
you?
I'm a fake fan. What can I say?
Um, I don't know. I'll get Ashley to give you one for Christmas.
Phillips stuff from his homeworld has
I
Phillips
don't
been
know.
like explicitly described as not being from Earth?
Yeah, because remember he's like a prince.
Hey,
Hey guys, what's happening?
Hey.
welcome to the
Um.
party.
Yeah,
How are you
that
guys
that is
today?
accurate. Good.
Good
But
to
yeah, I
hear.
think Billups is I don't think I can't remember if he's not human, but remember he was a virgin because if he had sex he has to like take
Oh
over
yeah, he's
ruling his
from
like that weird
right. He's from some other planet. Let
yeah.
me see if I can find out real
I
quick.
don't know that Billups isn't human though. That's what I'm not positive about.
Mm,
Hi
mm.
Braxton.
Hey,
What did you think of the episode?
what a fabulous
Yeah.
episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I was telling someone
And for
earlier
the record, you
today.
watched one where they got stuck on a planet and then they
Yes,
were
I was
like
telling someone today how much I dislike Mariner, and so I'm glad that she was able to right her ship, and
yeah.
maybe I'll like her character moving
I
forward.
do like that without it being too obvious. Without it being too obvious while you were watching it. It's now obvious. Like, oh, we were leading up to this point. They were building on something to get to here.
Yeah.
Um, thank you, Aaron. He's from
And yeah,
Hyperia,
I was
isn't
say
he?
I just pulled it up. He's human, but it's from Hesperia.
Mm, mm.
Oh, right, the Ren Fair type planet.
I would feel worse for the real touch Chateau Picard if they weren't making a ton of money from the fact that they're the ones who sell the Chateau Picard wine.
Oh, I did not realize that was a real
So
um,
there's a
pre-existing
there's a
vineyard.
real vineyard called Chateau Picard, and then they're the one they made a brand deal with to
Oh,
sell.
okay.
So I think they're probably making a ton more money than they would if they were not selling Star Trek inspired wine.
If they aren't, it's their own choice at this point. Like that's just such
Mhm.
an easy cash in at a
Yeah,
minimum.
I'm pretty sure it was. I might have to double check that. Did Mariner blind a guy? I do not remember. Is that does she do that on the planet?
Trying to think
I
about.
don't
I
recall
don't think
her
anybody ended up blinded in
blinding.
that
Yeah.
final fight.
I mean, but she did fight a lot of guys
She did fight a
this
lot of
episode.
guys, which is why I'm like, this is why I'm like, it's me just asking. I was like, I just might have missed that. That
Yeah,
is
could
a
have. You know,
complete
she fought a
distinct
lot of guys.
possibility.
Totally.
I was
Um,
like, if she did blind a, they did not do like this is a serious moment. They did this is a funny cartoon show, haha.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I do like their establishing, like, yeah, of course Mariner would have, like, a PTSD.
Well, that's
Um,
interesting. I thought too because like I would not have connected that she would have been an ensign of that year or
oh,
like training,
yeah.
like in terms of
And
like
see,
where she
that's him
falls in the
take out
timeline.
his eyes. See, I imagined that they fixed that pretty quickly, and he probably is not blind.
Hmm.
Okay,
Oh,
that's that
right.
dude.
The monster, yeah. She
We,
didn't. I wouldn't say she didn't blind a guy.
yeah,
Her neglect blinded a
yeah.
guy. It would be like
I
manslaughter, I guess.
People regularly regrow limbs on this show, and Jordy, in at least one alternate future, Jordy specifically has cloned implants of eyes. So that's why I think,
This is very like well, not entirely off topic. Guy with who lost the leg last episode in the time warp thing. Did
yeah,
he get his leg back? Did we ever establish that?
Oh,
they say specifically like we'll let Tana grow you a new one.
yeah.
Okay.
So he's gonna get a leg back.
Which means
I
there's opportunity for a clone leg in the future.
clone leg. Yeah, like honestly, when they left it, I was like, you need to go back and get that. That's gonna come back to be a plot point. Like, it could be a plot point in Star Trek Online. I say that as someone who loves like Star Trek Online, but that's the kind of thing that pops up there. Um, So I guess do we want to talk about like go right into
So,
Shito?
Ensign Sito, did we see her in any of the Star Trek shows before?
Yes, she's in 2 episodes of TNG.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
say most notably, um, the one that I think would be most relevant is
Uh,
she's in the Lower Decks episode of TNG
yeah,
in season 7. I'm
she's
trying to remember what
also
season the other episode's from.
notably of like for the end of the episode. She's also in First Duty, which is the episode that has Nick Locarno in it.
Yes,
Hmm.
sorry, I was blanking on the
So
name.
I would assume that would mean that like she doesn't know Nick Locarno from like his reputation. I think she knows Nick from the Academy.
Hmm.
Right.
Because she's apparently I guess it totally makes sense because Mariner's supposed to be a little older than the rest of the lower deckers, like not
Yeah, I'm on Memory Alpha, and it's not saying like an exact age, so we're kind of. I think it's kind of slowly, uh,
slowly we're putting it together how old these
like
people
yeah,
are.
like they're creating a timeline, a more set time, at least for Mariner. You know, and of course they can always retcon that by being like,
Yeah,
oh, she went back to the academy multiple times or something if they had to.
yeah. They it's I mean we recently we got a more exact age for Boimler, so I think they're getting more into like let's get them exact ages.
Yeah.
Do I think Wesley be in the next episode?
I
Genuine
hope
question.
not.
Genuine question. Is Wesley traveling with the Traveler at this point? I don't know. What is the timeline there?
Well, at that point you get a little
Yes.
wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, but I would
Yeah.
assume yes, because
Yes.
this is after.
After TNG.
Yeah.
Um.
As I say, I say at this point he might have already come back for uh, Deanna and Will's wedding, and then gone
Mhm.
back to traveling
That's true. I
potentially.
forgot about. Well, yeah, because we're definitely okay. So I assume this episode has so many timeline questions for me. But so we're definitely after Nemesis because Beverly Crusher's missing, or like Beverly Crusher's ex Starfleet.
Right. And also, I
Um.
mean, we also know this is post Nemesis because we've seen Will and Deanna on the
On the
Titan.
Titan, yes. Um. Yeah, Merida's probably close to Wesley's age. Is probably the just go with that because I don't want to get confused on it.
Well, yeah. That would make sense given that that would put her in that same kind of age bracket as Cito Jax and
Mm-hmm.
Nick
Yeah,
Lorenzo
Nick Locarno.
Moreno. Locarno. I have no idea why I was struggling with that.
Here's my Tom Paris plate for kind of. There's no Nick Locarno merch that doesn't exist, so I have my Tom Paris plate.
They could eat. They could so easily just make a modified plate and sell
Of
it
enough
as
of Nick Locarno.
yeah. I love that they got the same actor to come back and play him.
Yeah, I do love it's. I
Robert
love how.
McNeil.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
love that it's clearly like let's recolor this pre-existing Tom Paris like animation model we have.
Well, they gave him like some like he definitely looks like a little more haggard, a little
Yeah,
more
he does
like.
see. Oh, he looks definitely worse.
What did they say that he's a pilot? Like he's basically like a mercenary pilot,
Yeah,
pilot for
pilot for
hire.
hire. Yeah. Also, I guess more importantly, apparently he's fucking kidnapping people. Also,
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this all resolves
yeah,
of like his
it'll
motivation or
be.
whatever.
I bet there'll be a little bit more to his motivation, but like honestly, it's also he's kind of the perfect character to do this with because like people know who he is, but it's not a
Mhm.
people. Not a, if people if you make Nick Locarno do bad things, people won't be mad about it.
Right, right. I was
Mhm.
gonna say, well, I mean, the second, so that's what I was saying. It wasn't until like near the end of the episode
Yeah.
I finally started like putting together, and like when she woke up on the ship, I was like, oh my god, he's on the ship, and it makes sense. They probably both have the same. Like my imagination is that they
Yeah.
have the same motivation of something to do with like
With
avenging
Cito.
Ceto.
But it's like it's going in very different
Mm.
ways. That I
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But okay, I wanna. My theory was right. I said, like after I was saying, I said, oh, it's interesting. It's all the lower deckers complaining about their captains, and then something happens to the ship. And I was saying, it has something to do with that. The lower deckers are doing something that they're betraying people, and I was right. The
Cool.
Orion confirmed it. I just want to be. I just want people to know I'm right. That's.
Hmm.
Oh, I love Tendi holding the authority
Mm-hmm.
of her title
Well, I mean,
for
the
Um.
the other
girls just
Orion.
kind of like bowed down, and they were like, "Oh, mistress of the winter
Yeah.
constellations." Oh yeah, and you're right. Then Tony was like, "Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
these are my friends. This is an
Mm-hmm.
assault to my
And
family."
like.
Yeah, you're totally right. Hmm.
I mean, that's that. If you look, if you got privilege, use it to protect other people. That's how you got to use it.
Mm, mm,
I
I like.
forgot there was another cadet in that group. Wait, like another cadet besides the one who died, right, Aaron? That's what we're saying.
Right,
Another?
right.
In
Another one.
in first,
Hmm.
in the fact they both start with the F is apparently, or they're like I keep.
Oh
No,
wow! Oh
Is the plate okay?
wow!
the plate's
Tom
fine.
Paris plate.
Okay.
The plate's fine. It's
Okay.
the stand it came with is plastic. It falls down more than I'd like.
It's the first time on camera, so
Yeah,
it's
I think
pretty good.
that's true. It's nice because I also work here, so I've knocked it down. I'm just working.
Mm.
The other
Um,
member of the of Nova Squadron in the first duty
mhm.
is Jean Hajar. Ah, well,
I
dang it! Someone beat me to
do
it.
not remember her. That's
I look at her picture and I go, ah, that person. That's the extent of my
I'll
Mm.
familiarity.
I'll look at the picture in a second. Yeah, that would make sense if Wesley still ages, because I don't understand how traveling with the traveler works.
We already established wibbly
Yeah,
wobbly timey wimey. It's the
yeah.
same thing.
Um, I I could see you being right on the next episode being on last duty.
Mm.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm.
What is the last duty of every
Mm,
Starfleet officer? We know that the first duty is to the truth,
the truth. Um,
whether it's
no, there's a
historical
podcast.
truth or
Yeah. What? Do you also have that speech memorized because it's in the Picard song?
I don't have it memorized, but yes, it's because of the Picard song.
I don't think I actually have it memorized. Because I know it goes back and forth. So do we think they're going to establish that Tom Paris and Nick Locarno are related in some way next episode?
I don't. I do not believe that.
Mm.
I
I
believe
could
they will
see
make a
them doing.
funny reference to them looking similar.
Okay, I could see that. The one thing I did not want them to be like they're actually the same person. Because I think at this point that does not make sense. Like even before this episode, I thought it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because like if you had changed his name to Tom Paris, what? But his father's name is Paris.
Yeah, no,
We've
no.
met
There's
his
definitely
father
like
several
there's no
times.
way to thread that needle in
Yeah.
terms of making them the same person. They have to just deal
I
with
think
the
I
fact
don't
that they
think they'd
look
be
similar.
twin brothers. I think it'd be like, oh yeah, we're cousins or something like that.
Maybe,
But
but I hope not.
I
Honestly,
honestly,
don't let this universe get smaller.
yeah,
It does.
think
Don't do the Skywalker thing of everyone has to be part of the
no.
legacy
I'm
characters.
more thinking of Doctor Who. Well, there'll just be like, yeah, that's my cousin, not a person who looks exactly like me. Or that one actress from Torchwood have been in the first season. They're like, oh, we're relatives, but like somehow the same
Yeah.
face across like generations. I honestly, what I'm kind of expecting is a um uh what as someone to say that he looks like Tom Paris and him being like, I don't see it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's kind of what I want.
I think the last duty is if they do reference it, it's going to be the last duty is to die for Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
To
Maybe a play on
die.
someone sacrificing themselves because that tends to happen a lot on these shows.
Oh my God,
Um,
who's going to sacrifice themselves? Who do you think has potential for that? Not
I think it could be
Nick
some. I think
Locarno.
it's going to be that they might make us think it's someone important, and then it's
yeah.
going to
Mm.
be like one of the secondary characters that maybe we've seen a couple times.
Mm.
Honestly, what I okay, this is just if it's a sacrifice. I think Mariner's gonna be ready to sacrifice herself for something, and Nick is gonna get his redemption by stopping her and sacrificing himself instead.
It's played out, but I could see it.
I could see, but also they're not gonna kill Mariner.
Well, no, no, they're
Like,
definitely not going to kill
yeah.
any of our main cast. Bridge
Um.
officer, maybe. Maybe Shax could actually die this
Mhm.
time. I don't want him to, but you never
I
know.
don't. Um. Uh. I. So no, we have tried. No one can figure out how to enable the captions for streams on this. Unless RC, we also do stream stuff. Do you know how to do captions on live videos?
Not on Restream
Okay.
or StreamYard. I can look into it real quick,
Yeah.
but
Oh, hi Joel. Um. Um. I don't know. And live captions don't tend to work super well. At least when I've used them on things that
oh,
do have
looks
live
like
captions.
I don't know if this link will work,
Uh,
but Google Chrome has a live caption function apparently that you
mhm.
can turn on if you're a Chrome user.
Yeah. I. Th-
No, it won't let me post it because it has a link. Oh well. Um,
um.
but
What was I saying? Also, can everyone hear me? Okay. I forgot to ask that earlier. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, your volume's good.
But no, I know captions would be super helpful in general, but I do not know how to do them on Restream. Um, what else? I love I love that there's like a connection now between the Lower Decks episode of TNG and and like this show.
yes,
Hmm.
It's funny. The one character, I guess this is where I'll admit this. I always thought Cedo and oh, I cannot remember his name, but the like human, the other human ensign that she was like hanging out a lot with, that was like
the
trying.
one that was trying to get a promotion from Riker.
Yeah, I always thought like they had cute chemistry, and like it was kind of a like if she hadn't died, they might have been able to be
Uh,
something. And
yeah,
so now
yeah.
I'm like, can he pop back too? Like, I just want to see him. Let me live, right? Let me live my fangirl dreams about this one very specific episode that no one else like that no one else probably like cares about the like together.
I think people really care about that. So, like, I definitely wished that we would see more of those characters.
Yeah, not that
Um,
people care about that episode. Not that maybe people just don't have where I thought they would be cute together. And I
yeah.
understand why we didn't. It's a seventh season TNG episode. They never had a chance. Like,
His name was Sam Lavelle, and yeah, he has not appeared in any other official like shows or anything like that. He hasn't
mm-hmm.
been referenced in Lower Decks or anything.
Because I know people are wondering if maybe this will like finally be the reveal that Cedo actually lived, but
Maybe.
I even though like part of me is like, oh, the poignancy, I would love that because I love Cedo.
Mhm.
However, the actress that played Sito hasn't acted since 1995. So I
Oh
feel
wow.
like if they did, she only was like active for like 3 years, which I'm honestly surprised about because like
Mhm.
I really enjoy her work. I like her work in Star Trek. I think she was really good.
Yeah.
But so I feel like if they were bringing Cito Jackson back, it would be like it wouldn't just be a short cameo because that would be like a significant thing.
Yeah.
And
Unless they recast the voice, but hopefully they wouldn't do that necessarily.
yeah, I mean, I could also see if they, I could see them like I'd be okay with it if they reached out to the actress, asked her, and she said, "I'm not interested." Because I
Yeah.
looked it up. Apparently, she's like a social worker now. There's a good chance she has no interest in acting anymore.
And as a Miss Powell family comment is really what I was just thinking about. I was just thinking like, man, it would be really nice to see the other characters we saw in that Lower Decks
Yes.
episode of TNG, like Ben the bartender, or
Mm-hmm.
even the Cardassian because I was pulling up their names, Jorette Dell.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say
I
I imagine Nurse Ogawa was probably Doctor Ogawa now.
hopefully. I always thought it was funny that the first time you see Nurse Ogawa is in something that's supposed to take place in the future.
Yeah.
Like, and then we're like, I don't know, she's still a nurse. Like, she was a nurse 20 years, like, after this, and she's a nurse now.
Well, it's kind of like
Yeah.
Picard in Tapestry, where he's just an ensign or whatever, a lieutenant
Yeah.
junior grade, even though he's like in his 50s.
Even though he's Patrick Stewart age.
Yeah.
I'm sure I trust Lower Decks. I don't think Mariner's development will stop here.
Mm-mm. No, I don't think
No,
so
no.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Unless something happens, I hope that
I
Tina is alive, dude. I would like to see her again. Like
I
what you
I
guys
know
are.
it's like I have like it's I'm like of two minds where I'm like I get it, the emotional impact, but also I loved that character so much. I'd love to see more of her.
Mhm.
But also I would say it's still emotional that I would assume if she's alive, she has been spending time in a Cardassian prison this whole time. Although I'd like to point out Thomas Riker's on that list. I'd kind of always assumed because they never mentioned him again that he died in a Cardassian prison. So, hey guys.
Sometimes people don't die in a Cardassian
Yeah,
prison.
sometimes people don't die in a Cardassian prison. Um, Although, yeah, for Arthur and I were pointing out, it was interesting that like you bring back Nick Locarno, like a Star Trek minor character played by like a major actor, which is also what Thomas Riker is, and it's interesting he's also on that list. So I don't know if that will come into play. Like that just might be me red stringing.
A little bit, but I was gonna say, like, because we definitely know
Yeah.
because of Picard, we know what
Mhm.
happens with Seven of Nine, and we know what happens with Beverly Crusher.
Yeah. So
We
it's
don't. I was like, Thomas Riker is a complete, unknown,
complete.
just
Yeah.
like Nick was until this episode. I was gonna say, a Will Tom reunion would be fun, but
Mhm.
only if you also have Boimler and his transporter clone.
That's yeah. I think we're talking about
Mm.
because yeah, I think it's interesting that we know he's alive and it hasn't come up. The transporter clone. Yeah, I'd heard that that the Deep Space Nine writers thought about doing something with Ceto, and they decided no, that it was like um it like would lessen the impact. But also, I want.
I mean, I'm okay
hmm
with someone who is presumably dead staying dead, but I think they
Yeah.
also left it like unknown enough because then you could
Yes.
theoretically
I
bring him
think
back.
it's like um I yeah, I have not watched the Trek culture video that I think yet that I think apparently he did not like the Ceto mention. Sean.
Mm,
But I agree, and well, I guess there's Esri in the last season of Deep Space Nine, but I don't know when during the Dominion War Mariner. I don't maybe Esri wasn't there yet. And also by that point they bring Esri in because everyone on the station has PTSD.
yeah.
So like that is part of the reason Esri is brought on.
Well, man, maybe we get an Ezri cameo.
Would
Klingon
love
War,
that.
Dominion War,
Yeah.
dude. Those were hell, dude.
Aaron, I think if uh William Boimler, right? That's his name?
That's why I was trying to remember what his
Yeah. because he took over. He took It does Brad not have a middle name that he could have taken? It's a weird move. Um,
What?
it would be yes. I'm sure that if he's not in next episode, he has to be in season 5, or maybe it'll be like how we were promised to Lynn last season, and they're like, kind of actually, and that she's only in like she's silently in one episode.
Mm.
The return of Talin was great. You know, I love that. Like she employed a Vulcan neck pinch.
Yes, this is all. This is also true, Aaron. If she had been in, she should have been released by now. Um, which is kind of where I was with Thomas Riker, but we had never gotten any indication that Thomas wasn't freed. We just hadn't heard of him. And it's also
Yeah,
Thomas could be because uh because it being voice acting, we don't have to like Jonathan Frakes doesn't have to worry about like, do I still look like him like from this time? And like, yeah, we can animate him. It's fine.
I say now we're talking about post-Dominion War Cardassian. I'm like, Garrick.
I need to not think about the fact that Garrett could be in it because I will get my hopes up and then be sad if he's not.
My hopes are not. I'll say like I'm not trying to put too much on this next episode.
Hi,
Howdy.
Michelle. I think we're doing the thing where we all love the episode and then we're like, what could be next?
Oh, awesome. I'm
Hey,
happy to
Michelle.
finally be able to make it. Hey, Braxton,
Yay.
how are you guys?
How are you?
Oh, I guess
Good.
how did you like the episode before we?
I enjoyed it.
Mhm,
I'm glad we finally got some answers about Mariner.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really nice job setting up the finale. I'm a little nervous to see what's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to some of the possibilities. Obviously, big Beverly Crusher fan here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Come on. Oh, hey, Aaron, how are you in the chat? So we'll see. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, with Wesley's connection, I
Mhm.
think my Crusher Convo host Jesse and I are gonna chat about this a little bit. So at some point, but I enjoyed it. I mean, I was getting a little tired of Mariner recklessly, and now it's like reckless to the point where she's getting people injured. So
Mhm.
it needs to be.
I didn't
grounded.
like. I think to me, it was getting. I was like almost to that point, and then I was like, "Oh, cool, we're addressing it. I'm fine with it now." Like, or like, "Oh, cool." It was kind of like the. I was like, "Oh, cool, we were building to something. I'm fine with it now." Because it kind of reminds me of Tom Paris and Voyager, where you have a couple of things where he's like, he seems to needlessly be getting in trouble, and you're like, "Oh, they were doing that on purpose to drum out the saboteur."
Right.
Cool. I'm fine with the last couple episodes of Tom now. Like.
It's interesting they're bringing Locarno into this. Like, I
Yeah.
liked Boymes is a bev head. Absolutely.
He is,
yes. And I think they all are secret bev heads, but I mean, very excited. But yeah, I have to say, I liked the headcanon that Tom Paris was just Nick Locarno renamed. Like, maybe he was Nick Locarno and they just swapped. He just changed his name for Voyager because they didn't want to pay the writers residuals on the character. But
I was gonna say alternative idea. Nick Locarno was a name he took on when he was in the academy because he didn't want to like have to deal with like his dad's legacy.
See,
Right,
I think
yeah.
at some point, I think it got to me like Tom Paris was too fleshed out of a character for me to like it for it to work for me that he was also Nick Locarno. Because like you had heard about his accident and like you had heard like the thing that was like similar but not the same, and they don't
Yeah.
like he describes a very different incident because he describes that there was an accident and he was not going to get caught. The only reason they knew it was something he had done is he confessed, which is not what happens with Nick. Nick doesn't like.
Yeah.
Nick is just gonna let everyone think that kid fucked up, like.
Yeah,
Until, like,
and then also like
someone
it
figures
can't
it
be
out.
him because he can't be having this ship and going around capturing people. He's too busy being a holo novelist and having a kid and a wife.
right.
What did you guys think of Captain Freeman pulling a fast one on those dudes?
I really liked that because there was a point where I was like, "There's no way you think this is gonna work." I was like, "Oh, you didn't? Cool." Like,
Mm-hmm.
because at some point I was like, she's being really dumb, and like I feel like she's a little smarter than this, but I was like, I guess they're playing it for a joke, and I was like, nope, they're playing it for jokes and
I was
for
going to say, she went with the Samuel Clemens thing in the other
uh,
episode, so she might be one to just kind of go with things sometimes.
yeah.
I felt like it was a little inappropriate to shake that person. I almost looked at him like he was a dwarf. I was like, oh my gosh, like you shouldn't like
Okay, so I
pick
kind
up
of
a
thought
person who's a dwarf and shake them like that.
I
It's
think
terrible.
okay, so I do think she actually thought he was a puppet.
Yeah, that callback to the Corbomite maneuver from
Yeah.
TOS was fabulous because
Yeah.
we all clocked it. We're like, where is Clint Howard? Is he going to make an
Yeah.
appearance as
Mhm.
like baby, whatever that was,
Yeah.
because he was on Strange New Worlds.
Mhm.
So, I thought maybe, and it was definitely acting like a robot. Like it was
Yes.
weird how it was basically just
Mhm.
like smoking. Then all of a
Mhm.
sudden it was a real,
Yeah.
Rutherford scanned it and whoopsies.
I love he's like, there's internal organ stuff. Like
It's like once you lift the being up and they start like kicking it, you're kind of like,
You feel
okay,
it. It's
maybe
like it's warm.
you
so
should
now I
reevaluate.
guess
Yeah.
that the Corbite maneuver puppet was based off an actual alien.
Mhm.
That apparently moves a little weird, so that's how they're able to get away with it.
Jill, I am with you. I kind of needed Mariner to care that the guy's eyes popped out too, but I hear
Mhm.
what Miss Powell family is saying as well. I do think it's kind of dark with Mariner. She is
Mhm.
getting into that dark headspace, and I think who better to bring her out of that dark headspace than perhaps Beverly Crusher and her maybe baby toddler son Jack that just should be voiced by Ed Spaliers. I'm just saying it now.
Okay, I like the idea. Toddler Jack would still have Ed Spaliers' deep British accent. Is what we're saying.
Yes, absolutely.
Love it.
I don't care
No,
about the London thing. We'll figure that out. It's fine. Just, that's what I need right now. Is Mariner to have a little downtime with the Crusher family, but be sworn to secrecy. So, because
He's from London
I-
and also the future.
Mhm.
yeah. But it was interesting. They really did the thread with 7 of 9. Like they're keeping
Mhm.
it very canon to Picard, where
Mhm.
she's with the Rangers. They confirmed that Thomas Riker is alive, which is kind of
Yes.
cool since we last saw him on DS9. And
It's because it's been a hot minute. Because I was like, at this point, I was like, did he just die in the Dominion War? Like that was what I assumed for years.
Yeah. I think because he was going to that prison or something. I can't remember
He
exactly.
gets sent to a Cardassian prison.
Yeah, it usually doesn't end well.
And then, which doesn't end well normally. And then during the Dominion War, when Cardassia betrays the Dominion at the last minute, the Dominion destroys a lot of Cardassia Prime.
Yeah.
So I was assumed he died, he dead.
Mhm. Yeah. Probably.
But I don't know. Just because he's on a Cardassian prison doesn't mean it's on Cardassia Prime.
This is true.
It's an
It was
empire.
more that we hadn't heard anything about this character in years. And and I could tell it wasn't because the actor was unavailable, because I constantly was seeing him playing Will.
Well, Miss Powell family points out that the Lower Decks game already has a Beverly Lower Deck style, so
This is true. I
would
played
be
that
super
off
cool
and
this
on. I think the humor and animation is fun. It's just not my type of game. It's like one of those waiting
I haven't played it.
simulation things. It's not my.
So there's a
you can't
lower
pay,
deck
You can't pay to go
game?
quicker.
I guess
Yeah,
I don't
it's-
know.
game?
So yes, it's a mobile game.
Gotta
It's
check this out.
it's kind of like Cookie Clicker, and that
Ugh.
it's that style of game, which I like the humor they add between it, but I just don't like that style of game. I'd rather I don't know, a match game is something I enjoy playing.
Yeah, sorry to yuck anybody's yum. It's definitely not my type of game either.
Yeah,
I didn't even know it existed, so I couldn't tell you either
I
way.
played it
but-
a little bit, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because it was Lower Decks. I wasn't actually really enjoying the gameplay. Whereas, there are Star Trek games I have said much worse about. So, they're Fleet Command. I don't like Fleet Command at all. And it always annoys me when Fleet Command has amazing commercials that are nothing like the gameplay.
Interesting. I mean, just getting back to Thomas Riker, though,
Yeah.
you would think he would have died in Cardassian prison, wherever that was, but it looks like he survived, and it looks like maybe he's like they care about him in Starfleet, so maybe he's back on their good side because they're actually looking for him, you know. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think he's definitely. I think. Yeah, I couldn't tell if they were because I don't know how much Starfleet would care about Nick. I think maybe it was just like. And I wonder, it'd be interesting to know how they like got the list of the people they think they're targeting.
You know, and this is the other thing, and I'm going to bring this up probably with Jeffy, my Ghost on Crusher combo, because it means that like Beverly was in danger. So the Vancouver is looking for her. Like, why is the Titan not looking for her? They're out too far. Deanna can't try to save her friend with Will or Picard. I mean, Picard's just too busy to figure out.
I assume honestly
this leads to all my angst over she was gone for 20 plus years and no one cared. Like, of her friends. I'm like, oh, come on.
I mean, Starfleet's an organization, right? Like they didn't. I was like, you don't get to choose your assignment necessarily. You don't get to hear about this.
I mean, the Enterprise original crew sure got to choose their assignments. Like, we're going to save Spock, like our boy is in danger. We're going to go get him. Like, or there's something happened. We got to get his Katra. Like, we're doing it.
I was like, to be fair, in that case, they got court-martialed for that one.
But
Kirk lost a promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to him, though, right? I mean, really, it all works out.
Demoted.
Yeah.
And Kirk got demoted, and the only reason they let him keep serving is he saved the world with some whales.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for that, we'd all be.
I would also like to point out
gone
that in First Contact, the movie, they need to stop naming things the same things. That they purposely do not assign them to fight the Borg, the Enterprise to fight the Borg. They have to go patrol Romulan space. And then the only reason they're not court-martialed for it is, again, I think they saved the world, and also the timeline slightly changed, so maybe they were able to be like, you didn't say that, we...
There's a lot to think about.
That is how I feel about the Lower Decks game.
I was saying, Geek Filter has the right idea. It's insubordination with flair.
Yes. And you see it in Strange New Worlds too, in the opener for season 2. So
like maybe
we're gonna
for
go,
all we know, the Titan is currently doing insubordination with flair, or maybe
I would love to see Riker going after, trying to find Beverly, or maybe that would make sense.
Maybe they've sent. I could see them being like, "Hey, Picard, you go look for Beverly. I'm gonna go look for my transporter clone brother."
What is Picard doing now? Like, what year is this taking place? Do we know?
That's what I was trying to remember. I was trying to think about, like, is this before or after the attack on Mars too?
It's gotta be before. It was after Nemesis.
It's after Nemesis,
it's after
but
Nemesis,
it's before the attack on Mars. At one point, last season, the lady Mariner was hanging out with after. Says something that the archaeological department is like funded by Picard.
Yes.
So he's doing. She calls him Admiral Picard. So he's
the non-existent money they have in the.
Yeah.
Just not going to get into that debate, but it's good. It was a nice
now I
connection.
think about if it is during pre the Romulan supernova pre attack on Mars, I'd like to see Raffi.
Yeah.
Ooh,
if we're just kind of speculating about characters we could theoretically see.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I love that we're all just like, I just want to see every single Star Trek character to ever exist to be in Lower Decks animation style.
That's what Lower Decks is for, though, to be fair.
No,
like,
I want this.
For me.
That's what I would
like.
They
can voice it, and it's fine. Like, they can animate them.
For, like, a couple different reasons. We don't have to worry about their age. It'll be a lot cheaper. I think there's a reason that people apparently wanted Robert Duncan McNeil for Picard, and he wasn't able to make it work, but he can make this work. And he said it's because he's very busy with his producing and directing schedule. But for all I know, Robert Duncan McNeil is literally phoning it in. Like, I'm not saying his performance is bad, but like
literally picking up a phone
and saying his line.
or
going into a Zoom call and So because one, I think that's how a lot of animation is done now, particularly after the pandemic.
Well, during the pandemic, they were in the closets and stuff. They had like
Yeah.
a setup, you know. It was
Joel, I want this. 5, 6, 7, 8.
7, 8 insubordination. I mean, the episode itself raises a lot of questions about why Locarno is picking these specific ships, picking all these different races, all these different populations, and placing them together. And then he takes Mariner. Like, she was friends with Sito, but was she friends with Nick?
I don't know. So this is based on so I was proud of myself because I got something at least a little right. Is that it had something to do with the fact that all of the lower deckers were talking shit about their captains right before they got attacked.
Oh.
And then she said something. The Orion said something like they spread lies to my to basically my lower deckers. And then one of them said that happened to me too. I don't remember which one said that. So I'm assuming that happened to everyone. So I think he is getting the lower deckers to revolt, and I think maybe
I'll be right back.
Oh, dear God.
Oh my gosh! Even the lower decker binars.
Even the lower decker biners.
I mean,
I don't
kind of
know
makes sense.
I don't know for sure because I couldn't understand what they were saying, but I assume yes.
I was gonna say, I mean, given the if the general idea theoretically, like I said kind of earlier, is that he's also doing it for his feelings about Cedo Jax, that it could be like, man, they just use lower deckers to go do whatever. Like they sent her on this
And
really dangerous mission that she really wasn't ready for, and
It's hard because obviously Nick Locarno did not watch the episode Lower Decks, where we watched them clearly give her a choice and.
Right, but she was also young and I'd say the argument could be made that the gears in the machine, war is always worse for the people on the starting rank kind of thing.
Yeah. But yes, I think Mariner knows Nick. The way she said Nick, it was
it was familiar. Yeah,
she didn't go oh my god, it's Nick Locarno like they do for most Star Trek characters. Like when Star Trek character, like when Tom Paris shows up, it's like, oh my god, it's Tom Paris from Voyager. She said Nick, like it's a dude she knows she hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah, maybe not super close, but some kind of connection.
Yes, I did notice, or I noticed someone talking about the fact he had the starburst maneuver on his jacket, and I don't know, maybe that's either. I'm hoping it's not him celebrating that, because that'd be fucked. But I'm hoping maybe it's him.
Maybe this ship that he's built can do it successfully or something.
Or maybe it's him reminding himself about that. Maybe he's if it's the thing where it's the people are not treating the lower deckers well, is when he was in charge, he didn't he put people in danger too. So maybe he's part of the problem.
Ooh.
Okay, this is true. Binars were sneaky in TNG, and they very much could have just asked the Federation, hey, can we use this to do this? And they'd be like, oh, totally.
I also loved how Mariner reacted to the Binar. We didn't get a translation of what they said, but they were just she was just totally, guys.
Yes, so this is, all the ensigns betrayed their ships. And so what I'm guessing is when we saw all of the things going down, and we assumed it was the ship doing it. It was actually the lower decker sabotaging the ship.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be the ship playing into it too, because basically the implication we've gotten is that everyone was transported off the ship.
Yeah,
right. The ship was
then
destroyed.
Put in some kind of I don't know, this is actually what they're doing. Some weird Hunger Games shit is what it looks like to me.
Again, that's why I'm kind of also going with this whole idea that that if Nick feels betrayed that lower deckers get put through a meat grinder, he wants to put officers through that same, and that's why he took Mariner off, because Mariner's a friend. Mariner's not one of these officers that's causing all these problems. She's not like the other ones. She's not like other girls.
Oh God, fucking Nick Locarno would do that bullshit.
Exactly.
I think Nick Locarno is the stereotype people think Tom Paris is. I think is the actual answer.
Yes.
Whereas
it's Tom Paris with literally no character development.
Yeah, and Tom, it's I think this is Robert Duncan McNeil described once the difference is Nick Locarno is you think he's a good guy, but he's actually like looking out for himself, and Tom Paris wants you to think he's like this tough guy, and he actually has like a heart of gold.
Yeah.
I don't know. Also, Tom, there's a supercut on YouTube. There's just Tom Paris saying "Yes, ma'am," which is
Why do you know about this, Rachel?
No. We don't need to talk about that. I did once send it to a mutual friend of mine at RCs and said my sexuality is this supercut.
Well, that answers that question.
Yeah. Nah. Fuck it. Robert Duncan McNeil is good looking. Sue me. I don't like.
Gasp.
I thought it was. What? I don't know what that was. You have nothing to lose but your chains. That's good.
That's really poignant too, given that we had Rom on recently.
This is true. Both for reality show that would be like a plot of an Orville episode. So
I've never watched the Orville.
I have watched very little of the Orville.
It's solid. You'd like it, I think.
I believe I need to give the Orville another chance. I did not like the first couple of episodes, and I
like Seth MacFarlane, like, in a general concept.
The things that I didn't like about the first couple episodes apparently do not stick around, so I should give it another chance. The humor just
I was like, listen, if anybody knows about shows that need a little bit of time to get their footing, it should be Star Trek fans.
Yeah. I didn't like some of the jokes. Even though I particularly like referential humor, the references in the first couple episodes of the Orville didn't make sense to me in the setting.
I was going to say, you gotta like referential humor if you like Lower Decks.
Yeah. Or also, you're on a podcast with me where I make references all the time, so...
That's our job, right?
Yeah. But, like, this is, in the first episode of the Orville, Seth MacFarlane's character calls a blue alien that had slept with his ex-wife a Smurf, and I was sitting there like, is that not racist in this universe? Am I supposed to like this character?
Oh.
This is also, obviously this is not I have a lot of friends who do like the Orville. When the Orville first came out, there was a certain sect of Orville fans who were using being racist about Discovery, and I don't have a better way of saying that. And so it soured me on the show in a way that is not the show's fault.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Miss Powell family brings up a great point about Talin's ship, though. I hadn't thought about that. What's the name of Talin's ship? I'm
I don't remember the name of her ship.
I wish I was more of a ship person. I really should be. I was so bad. Like, I was talking to someone today. I'm like, is that the Elios? They're like, no.
The Cheval.
It's not the Elios. Like, no.
It's
when
the
they were
Cheval.
pulling up the different
Also,
ships.
Mm-hmm.
Why are Vulcan ships so gigantic? For
science.
Science, yes. more
Sorry, wait, why do we so what exactly was established with Talin's ship of like why it wasn't attacked? I just want to make sure I understood what.
Oh, I assume because the lower deckers there do not. If we're going, I mean, it's probably me extrapolating that. If it's the lower deckers feeling what's the word for class issues, essentially, that Vulcans tend to be very logical and very pretty good about the systems that are in place.
Ricardo looked at them and went, "Nah, that's too hard."
Can't rile up the emotions.
I did think it was interesting that moment where you were like where Mariner was surprised Talin was in that battle.
Yeah.
That feels like it's going to come into play, but I don't understand how at all.
That was where Talin was introduced first, right? Was during the Packwood battle?
I thought that was an episode before or something, like just not too long, like earlier in that same season.
Right. Okay.
Well, because it was the episode where we saw different perspectives from different lower deckers.
Yes, that's where Talin is introduced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe it was the last episode.
She didn't say anything. Just cut away from.
Yeah,
her
that's. I
reaction.
don't remember
Mhm.
seeing Talin anything to do with the Packlet battle. So that I was like, as far as I knew, that was brand new information. Or maybe I haven't watched the first season of Lower Decks in a second. But Talin is introduced in season 2, right? In the episode Wage Dune.
Yep, I'm looking it up, and you are correct.
It's like being on a quiz show. You're like,
Yeah.
test my knowledge.
That's my
The
knowledge.
Lower Decks seasons all blend into each other for me. I'm like, what season did that happen in? Where are we in the timeline?
Yeah,
I
I was saying I need to go back and rewatch them. I think at this point to kind of
I
get my head
do
back
too.
in the timeline.
It's been especially 'cause time has no meaning anymore. So
At this point, I'll wait
Yeah.
until like whenever season 5's starting, and then I'll go back and rewatch
That
everything.
not
right
be till
before.
2025 at this point. So we'll see.
that's animated TV is not struck, so I can see them
I
being
know.
like,
I don't know.
being
Yeah.
like go make some Lower
But
Decks
they
right
haven't-
now.
They haven't announced a season 5.
Oh, they haven't. I didn't realize that.
They
I thought they had.
I think they have announced season 5.
Have
they haven't
they?
announced anything past that, which is
Quickly.
So we
to the
know
internet.
for sure we're getting a season
Yes,
5?
Yes.
March 28th, 2023. It announced that they'd renewed for a 5th season.
Oh, good.
Granted,
Okay.
yes.
Look
what
at
we know
look at me
about
spreading
Paramount is
information.
hey, even though they announced another season, you can't trust them.
That's why I thought they
Murph.
didn't, because they started that whole campaign, and I'm like, oh, did they not renew Lower Decks?
I think
But they
there is
did.
a worry
Okay.
that it won't be renewed past season 5, and people would like
Okay.
more, especially because
Mhm.
Lower Decks episodes are so short, and then the seasons are so short. We don't actually have that much Lower Decks if you think about it.
Mhm.
So I could see that, like, I am fine with Lower Decks going past season 7 because that's still like not even like we're
Bring
like,
back 23 episode season.
yeah.
Somebody online was just like, it should just be like The Simpsons, like just
Yeah.
keep going.
I would be totally fine with that.
As long as they can keep it like high quality, like I'm
Right.
very happy
Yes.
with Lower Decks overall. So like I
Mhm.
want, but like I would say Simpsons is actually a bad example because a lot of people are like, why isn't this over yet?
Mhm.
I would be fine with it being.
Thank
I don't
you,
know.
Aaron.
Just keep going.
I wonder. I feel bad. I wanted to be on less. It's been crazy with my work schedule. I'm glad I
Mhm.
got to hop on tonight. But I was actually thinking of Aaron last week with the aliens that came into that
Mhm.
story from the animated series, because I rewatched that episode from the animated series, and that was a doozy. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna start rediscovering the animated series again. You
That
know,
reminds me, I think I might put it on like my birthday's coming up, or my parents' wish list might put Aaron's book on there and be like, "Mom, Dad, buy me this, please."
Rachel, you
I
like
should
books?
too. Oh no, Braxton. There you
I
go.
I did love. Yeah, there's no reason there's a pile of books behind me right now.
Braxton, I
Okay.
don't think I ever learned the name of your cat. I see your cat all the time. I love it. I just
This-
don't know.
This is Ahsoka. She doesn't. She's camera shy now.
Oh,
Wait, Braxton, you should say the name of your other cat.
Esri.
Ezri and Ahsoka.
Esri and Ahsoka. Yeah.
We got a little crossing of the streams
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nice. What was interesting about this episode was there was definitely a Star Wars-ish quality to
I could
like
see.
the
Yeah.
cantina type stuff on the Axel. What was that planet they were on? The captain and Rutherford.
It was something too. I remember that because of the
Axel
joke.
something too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just loved how the bouncer was basically like, that's another half hour for you. Like, it's nice to occasionally see. Like, it's not that I want Starfleet to be disrespected, but it's like that. It's not venerated
Yeah.
everywhere they go.
Yeah, that it's like not everyone thinks you're the cool kid on the block.
Mhm.
Like some people aren't fans. Some people have some critiques.
Especially given what happens to like different research scientists.
Right? Well, you never know. I mean, different cultures have different experiences with Starfleet too.
This
And
is true. But
I
would,
mean,
yeah, I
Starfleet's
would've-
very happy to let a whole planet die if they
Um,
haven't reached warp capabilities. So
I
I mean-
would yeah, and I
Prime
also will
directive.
immediately assume that a planet like that, I'm like, yeah, they would hate Starfleet for the reasons I love Starfleet. Like that's
the debauchery
Yeah.
on the planet. No, I thought it was good though. It was a nice change of pace.
Actually, this is totally
I thought
a joke.
I saw a Gorn. Did you guys see a Gorn?
I think there was a picture of a Gorn. So
I think they were walking off the transport.
Apparently, at least canonically, the men's uniforms at least have pockets. Can the cosplays now have pockets, please?
Oh, this is a great point. I support this.
The discovery of the pockets was like mind blowing to me. I was like, "What? How long have you been wearing this?"
Maybe they're hidden. It's almost like what?
I
guess
I have done that wearing a dress though. So I.
Thank you, Joel, for finding the Gorn.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's also like you've done that with a dress because not all dresses have pockets. You would not necessarily know to look for it on all.
Not all
dresses.
I would say the TNG and the Deep Space Nine Voyager uniforms all do not have pockets. So most Starfleet uniforms don't. So I would also assume they don't. And maybe he just got new uniform pants.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it was a redesign.
I mean, what are they? What are the new
they're always
pockets for?
redesigning those things.
Tricorders.
I think they can clip those on. Everything clips to their belt loops somehow that they don't really have, but they do have.
Yeah, they're not going to have like money in their pocket or like in their wallet. Like there's no like credit card or anything.
I was like, their only identification is apparently a badge that they carry.
You don't need keys.
Also, it's a nice place to put your fucking hands while you're standing there. Which, do you know how it is when your pants don't have pockets and you're like, I don't know what to do with these fucking hands.
I think for Starfleet officers, for Starfleet officers, they know they stand at attention. Like I actually
am now remembering a story Patrick Stewart told where he was he was the only one not having trouble figuring out what to do with his hands because he had done so much Shakespeare. He was used to wearing tights.
Yeah.
Starfleet officers should know to keep their hands gripped together at all times to do a top-down maneuver.
Or this. I mean, the karate chop. Don't underestimate it. That chopping effect.
Also, he could put more engineering tools in his pockets so he could have more of them, which just fit on the tiniest belt loop. Because I technically have a belt loop on my Voyager, Janeway uniform I use. It is too small for anything. I have no idea what I'm supposed to put on there.
Great. Now Rutherford's going to be carrying tons of isolinear chips.
I mean, Rachel, can you put a little money into it? I mean, could you put your ID and a credit card into it?
No, it's a belt. It's a loop. I have no idea what it's for. It's this big, and it's like a loop. And I assumed it's supposed to be you stick
It's for your fanny pack. That's what it's for.
It's for a lightsaber.
So it doesn't. I'm not describing it right because it's up. It goes it's cylinder-esque. So I think
for a lightsaber.
What you're supposed to do is sheath something in it, but I don't. It's too fucking small to sheath anything. I've tried. I have a TNG era toy. Oh my god, weapon.
Phasers.
Phasers. I couldn't think of the word phaser. It's too fucking small for that. It's way too small. I cannot fit anything in it, and I do not know what it's for. I could maybe put a carabiner
to hang it up. You know how shirts have those annoying plastic things sometimes. Women's shirts do anyway. I don't know about, but if they're dress shirts, you have the plastic in them to hang them up, and you're like, why? Yes. It's and then you're put it on, and then you find out 3 hours into a meeting that the plastic thing's been hanging out half the time.
I had to do that. I went to a family friend's wedding a couple months ago, and I saw something, and I had to go to the bride's mother. I was like, it's hanging out. Let me fix it. Mm-hmm. And you probably for that dress you probably would need loops like that for the dress she was wearing because the sleeves were off shoulder, so I don't know that you could use them to hang it up. But no, because it's a jumpsuit and it's at the hip,
so it's not you're not gonna be holding it like this.
Yeah.
The Miss Powell family, yes, Patrick Stewart's book is interesting. I have read it. It's an interesting read.
I have a physical copy of it, but my plan had been to get it for the library for the audiobook. And I'm still waiting because I don't have a ton of time to sit down and just read. Unfortunately,
I'm sure I read it. It probably sounds a lot better in Patrick Stewart's voice. But there's some interesting things in there for sure. And a lot of stories you may have heard, but also nice pictures of his childhood. It's a memoir.
I kind of he's led an interesting
life.
Hey, Arcee,
sometimes a hard life.
Yeah. Arcee, you could have had a signed copy of it. We offered to pick you up one.
And you'll never let me forget it.
No.
I mean,
didn't offer me to have a signed one.
What did he battle
So
Homelessness or poverty or something.
He grew
poverty,
up in
yes.
he grew up, yes, in a very low economic area. I mean, he didn't even have a bathroom inside his house. There was, it was the living conditions were
It
rough.
was so
Yeah.
England right after World War II was
Mhm.
still recovering from the war, and it's not great. And also, his father was, I don't know how much he goes into this part. His father was.
He goes into it a little bit, but it wasn't anything nothing that you hadn't heard in interviews.
Yeah.
That was what I found most in the book.
Mm-hmm.
There were stories from his time at the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Yeah.
And stuff.
It's probably a thing
that you didn't hear before, but for the most part, like I heard some of the stories before.
We watch so many panels and stuff that most people have not heard these stories before.
Yes, because they haven't heard interviews.
But no, his father was abusive, and I think recently it's discovered most likely had PTSD.
Right. Yes, they called it shell shock back then. Yes. But yeah, so he does talk a little bit about how his father was abusive toward his mother, and that he was, there was upheaval there, but they, he got through it, and he found theater as an escape. That was his outlet, his I think way of expressing himself.
It's funny
and finding that safety in it.
Put that. I think
like people find Starfleet.
Yeah.
Like.
I think it's unfortunately. I think the book's back on my shelf. By the way, the reason RC was offered for me to pick up a copy of the book is RC was on the same trip as me, just not in the bookstore when I found the signed copy of the book.
And I'm stingy about buying things.
Yeah. I think even
Lucky, that's awesome. You found a signed copy. Good on you.
Yeah. I went to the drama bookstore. Our other friends, we were looking through plays, and someone was looking through the biographies that I didn't realize were there yet. And they were, Rachel, come here, and they were like, look, and the Patrick Stewart ones, they had signed copies of them. I was like, this is mine now. And then our other friend also got a copy.
Nice. Yeah, he was like sneakily signing them and different books.
So
as he did his train tour, when he did his United States tour.
I don't think that was so. At least the way it's in my book, it seems like he was. It's saying it was bound signed.
Yes, Aaron. Yes, Aaron is correct here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was like Aaron saying there was a character and there was a ratio was off. The perspective was off. I didn't notice it, but I'm sure he's eagle-eyed. So I trust him.
I need to go back and rewatch.
What was I? So it was. It said like on it that this was like, it said bound signed or something like that. So I have the impression that there's a run of the book given to some probably small bookstores. I was in I was in an independent bookstore that he's probably signed. Why do I keep forgetting the name of this? Where they'll sign a paper instead of just sign a bunch of papers, and then they bound that paper into the book.
Nice.
There's a specific name for that, and I talk a lot about publishing in other spaces that I don't know why I can't.
He talks very little about. Yeah. He talks about Star Trek, but it takes a while to get there because obviously he led a whole life, like a whole 50+ years before Star Trek. So
and
he was doing some stuff.
He's
got other stories.
I've like paged through the book. I bet it's also that's probably the best documented, like the most well documented part of his life. So I bet he was like, let's talk about the things that people don't know.
And he also weaved it into the early parts of his life. Like he would be talking about his childhood, then he'd be like, and then 30 years later when I was in Hollywood, like, so he kind of goes back and forth, which is nice too. It's not
Aaron,
just like chronological.
Aaron, I couldn't think of the word of book plate. That is right.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Good on you, Aaron.
Thanks. I don't know why my brain keeps forgetting that word.
But I mean, do we think that Picard might make an appearance on Lower Decks?
I
don't know in the finale. I don't see. He wasn't really hinted at. If anything, it's got to be one of the other three, right? Either Thomas Riker, Seven of Nine, or Beverly Crusher.
I also feel so burned by not seeing Janeway in Picard season 3 after so many references that I'm not getting my hopes up about anybody.
Between
I know my
that
expectations are
and,
way too high right now.
between that and that Discovery where they go in the lower decks and they Discovery and they go back in time to the Mirror Universe. And they keep mentioning Lorca for Lorca just to not show up at all.
Yeah.
I was like, if you had just done one thing like, oh, Lorca's not here, Lorca's doing something else, it would have been like, oh, I would have gotten the like, oh, cool, they couldn't get Jason Isaacs. Understandable.
Not to perseverate on that, but they should have been rescuing the real Lorca, right? Because we don't know that he died, do we?
We don't, but also she went back in time, so I don't think
he was
the real
there
Lorca is missing yet.
Interesting.
So I don't.
Yes, Pal Family Wesley should come back. However, I will be salty if he comes back for like Beckett Mariner and not for his mom. Like that will not be fun.
You don't understand how close Beckett gets with people, though.
Yeah,
Beckett's able to form real close bonds like really quickly.
She does. Well,
Michelle, that would be terrible, though. You're right.
That would be a little bit rough. I want to see Beverly. Wesley, I love Wesley, but you didn't show up in Picard season 3.
I would only accept Wesley if he is there in his role as a traveler.
He would be, I think, but maybe this is where he tells his mom, "I'm leaving forever." Like, are they going to just weave Picard season 3 stuff into Lower Decks? Like, I don't know. That would be cool, though. What are the chances
that we see the Black Mountain or the Koala Bear or the guy who ascended? Or Badgie.
We see the koala every episode, right?
We see every episode?
Well, it's in I noticed it in the lower, you know how that Paramount logo, you have the Paramount logo, then you have the Star Trek logo.
Yeah.
If you look, you'll see the koala for the Lower Decks one. So the koala's like in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, so
before the ship comes around.
You always see the koala. The koala is always there watching you, RC.
So I think we might see the koala again if somebody has a near-death experience.
I was say, I mean, in a more legitimate sense, not just the intro.
I mean, we've seen the koala a couple times this season, at least twice, right?
We have.
Yes, I know he can't interact with his family because travelers. I'm sorry, that's not a good enough excuse for me. I
do hope one day we get to see Wesley at least meet Jack.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll get that in Star Trek Legacy.
God willing. I mean, really.
Aaron, that wasn't a guess. If people don't know what Aaron's talking about there, I once, while watching Deep Space Nine on my iPad, there is just a fucking eye floating in space behind Cisco on my thing, and I have no fucking idea why.
Rachel's very concerned about it.
You don't want things watching. It's creepy time of year. I get it.
It's been over a fucking year, and I still have no answers.
I mean, doesn't it symbolize the prophet?
Oh. No, it's just a random eye. Okay, what I actually think is that I think they found a picture of space and didn't realize there was something in the design. Like it's just I have no idea if this was
somebody put an eye in there they didn't notice, and they just made it the Deep Space Nine background.
Yes, that's what I think.
I like Braxton's explanation though. I would accept that.
I would accept that. When I first discovered it, I made a TikTok video and I put it on Twitter. And so there's a million jokey guesses about what the eye is. But yeah, Aaron asked on Van Curtis, and he also doesn't know.
So Fathery is saying that he and Aaron will be live tomorrow night for the deep dive discussion. So I'm interested to see what they have to say about this episode because it really ended on a dun dun dun.
What an ending as well. Yes.
Nick Licardo with his gray, he's gone gray.
This doesn't really work because I have a ring light on. But there is
you got your little halo thing
just here. Honestly, it kind of looks like it's Quark's eye to me.
I can't see it.
I don't know how well that works. Here.
Maybe they just painted Quark out.
I don't know. I will.
But yes, Miss Pal Family. Yes, it's good that Picard season 3 was made so long ago that Lower Decks can reference it. I agree. I don't know how. Like, I guess they could reference the whole season. So I really hope we get. I hope we
I'm
get
just
Beverly,
now
but
remembering
they've gotta do
something
someone, right? I mean, besides Nick
that
Locarno,
apparently that Lower Decks wanted to do Wesley a while ago.
they were
That
fighting over Wesley, and
they were
Picard
fighting
won.
over Wesley,
Yeah.
and Picard won, which I
Mhm.
will say makes sense.
Yes,
that
because you needed him in the story somewhere,
Because
so we as the
Picard-
audience knew Wesley was alive, even if Beverly doesn't. Like, we know that he's okay,
and also
we need to get that message.
It
to her
does make
somehow.
sense for like the more TNG adjacent show to get Wesley first.
Yes,
But I could see that like Lower Decks being like, "Hey, has it been long enough?"
They're very TNG adjacent, Lower Decks.
They
I mean,
are.
It is.
did we talk about how they referenced First Duty and Lower Decks tonight? I mean,
That's true.
come on, Ensign Cito.
Poor Ensign Cito. So we do.
Mhm.
Do we think we're about to get Do you think we're about to get a reveal that she's alive? That's the real.
I was thinking that maybe.
I'm going with no.
Okay.
Mm. I'm gonna go with maybe. That's so non-committal.
That's how I feel too. I just to
completely
be
non-committal.
just to have like a definitive. I don't think so, but I want it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think she's alive.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Joel.
It
would make the episode lose some resonance, I think.
That
like the
is one of
original
my
episode lose some resonance.
And my other reasoning is the actress that played Cito Jackson has not acted professionally since 1995.
Oh,
I'm not going to
really
let the real world and facts dictate
Yeah.
thoughts.
Good.
I know that's what
She can still voice animate.
When I first learned that fact, I was really surprised because I thought she was only active for a couple years, and I was really surprised because I thought she was really talented.
Yeah,
she was really good in both episodes, and
the fact that Cito was only in 2 episodes, and the fact that we are discussing her so much of like how emotional like her death made us is pretty telling to her.
That's why I think it's great that they tied her to Mariner, because we resonate with that death, so we could understand why she a little bit of why she's been the way she's been, because she was close to Cito, and I think
it was great because it's so much easier for us to relate to oh, that's sad, her friend died, oh, her friend was Cito. We know because that fucked us up too.
Right,
and if too, because that's a couple of years before the Dominion War starts too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If it was, and that's the thing. She mentions the Dominion War too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mariner's really seen some crap, and she's talking about Cito, but a lot of people, I don't because it's been a rough road for Mariner this season, and Boimler's kind of been in the background. I feel like he hasn't had much to do. So I've been a little disappointed with what they're doing with him, but if we can get a real resolution, I think that Cito does need to stay dead, because that's Mariner's arc, right? Honoring Cito. So as much as it might be a neat short-term reveal, it's probably better long-term if she made the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Oh, RC, yeah.
I have an idea that would make everybody happy. Well, maybe not everybody, but it'll make me happy. Well, that's enough for me. She stays dead, but we get a shot of her with the prophets in the Celestial Temple.
Oh,
or the koala.
Or the koala.
Or with the koala.
But she's Bajoran, so I'll accept that. Although you don't, to be fair, though, you don't see, that's not, the prophets just appear as people from your past.
I'm saying, I don't know, they do something to indicate that she's in the wormhole.
That'd be cute.
Celestial Temple, right? Wasn't that the name?
Yeah.
Yes, she's in the Celestial Temple. I like that.
I would think maybe Mike McMahan did have this backstory. Miss Powell family was talking about. Is it all right? Yes, Mr. Duck Sauce, but a little brutal right there. Let's keep her dead. Okay, we got it.
But it was connected to this comment.
A long-term story for her.
I played this comment first. I think you only saw the second one.
Yeah.
It's a little less brutal when tied to his first comment.
No, I
could definitely see this being his plan, considering he sought out to make a show and call it Lower Decks.
Springtime brings up a great idea of it being of getting flashbacks to the Academy. I would love to see more perspectives of what's happening during the events of First Duty.
That's how we get Wesley back. That's
Oh, there we go.
You could get Wesley, Cito, Locarno, and whoever that other person was that I can't remember. That is one of the first Next Generation episodes I remember watching as a kid. Because I didn't watch Next Gen that much, but I remember because I loved Will Wheaton. Like I liked Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
And I remember them being at that judge table, being in the courtroom. And I remember thinking, why is Wesley in trouble? What's going on? I was very concerned for I don't know, was I 10?
Yeah. Okay, I thought
However,
now that we're back,
sorry.
I fall asleep watching shows that I really enjoy and know well. So I've often fallen asleep watching Star Trek. That's the one backstory you need for this. At one point I fell asleep watching whatever episode comes before First Duty, and I woke up eventually just to the Picard yelling at Wesley. It was so jarring. I was like, this show, it was a peaceful Patrick Stewart screaming.
Yeah.
We have red stringed a lot.
Scared me as a kid.
On a lot of potentialities for this episode, but I think we should also remember that this is ultimately a Lower Decks show, and
this
so
I
really hope that we get to spend some time with the Lower Decks characters, and also we only have 22 more minutes of show or whatever.
That's
so
fair.
That's great that they brought up that no one remembers the fourth.
Yeah, we already did. Someone said her
in Lower Decks.
Someone said her name earlier. We said it out loud. I forgot it.
We Googled it.
Yeah. I memory alphaed it, and I've already. It's a jar something.
Yep.
I was trying to rewatch the First Duty, but I just ran out of time. I did watch Lower Decks though, and it never fails to make me tear up a little bit at the end.
I
know.
I wish I could say a little.
That delivery by I will say that's a strong delivery by Patrick Stewart, and then all the different reactions. This is why it makes sense for Beverly to appear, because she knows Locarno, she knew Cito, because Agawa was affected by Cito's death, right? And she's and Cito went to Beverly to get that. To look like she was beat up, remember? So Cito met Beverly. So there's all these,
there we go.
You wonder what that complication was.
I hope she comes back to show us all up.
I know.
That'd be kind of funny.
We'll see. I don't want to. I feel like my expectations for next week are way too high.
I agree. We already got. I love that we're just being insane. We already got fucking Nick Locarno, which is just a bizarre thing to have happened.
I should really be appreciating that more than I am. Because I like the headcanon that Tom was Nick. That's why.
I'm spiraling now that she should come back next season, and her whole thing would be that she's the anti-Cito, whereas Cito was very much I'm gonna buckle down after what happened, and I'm gonna learn from my mistakes and try to be a better officer, and she's just screw Starfleet, I'm out of here.
You mean she's Nick?
Yeah, but but
she and Nick have teamed up to kidnap all these people.
I'm curious because also I looked up that
Miracito.
Maybe. God, what if Miracito would be such a bizarre thing to see?
Locarno get all this technology to do this to these ships.
I think
gotta be something.
He's
else
definitely
going
working
on, right?
with someone.
And
I don't know
Klingons. Are the Klingons really the captain of that Klingon ship was? I loved him, by the way.
Yeah,
I thought he's my favorite Klingon. No offense, Worf, but he was yeah, I get this Klingon. I'm down with this guy. He's got a little emotion to him, but he's very Klingon.
I'm gonna guess that Nick thinks he's the mastermind, but he's actually a gun for hire.
Somebody else is the puppet master.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Yeah. We've kind of gotten rid of all of our evil AI that it could be. So
that was a great episode.
Somehow
Peanut Hamper came around.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to have Peanut Hamper make an appearance in the end to help save the day.
Yes, that is the Klingon from Wage Dude. Which I'm real glad he's not dead, because he was nice. I have thought this for a while. he was going to be involved. So I could see Section 31 Boimler being the.
Oh, is William Boimler, is he in Section 31 now? Because I'd forgotten about that if that was the case.
Yeah, it's very briefly established that he's in Section. The episode that reveals he's alive. He's also, I think he's holding the black Section 31 badge or something like that.
Oh yeah, they didn't pay that off. I forgot that was this season.
So that was last season. So this entire season, I'm
okay.
That's been my main theory.
So Boimler finding out that his double was dead, but he doesn't know he's not really dead.
He doesn't.
That was that was last season.
That was last season.
So Boimler really hasn't had anything much to do this season.
Which is also maybe why good time to bring in the transport
Braxton,
clone.
am I wrong?
Hey, Jack Quaid has been busy.
Jack Quaid has been busy, just not on this show. It's everything
he's had Ferengi TV to watch.
Everything he's done on these things have been it's been funny. He's just usually more of a focus than he's been this season.
Right, there's more emotional weight to his character, but Mariner's acting all crazy, and he's not doing much except being like, "Hey, put your venom repelling pants on." Like, come on, dude, she's your friend. Like, step up a little bit.
I'll see you guys.
All right, Braxton,
week.
good to see you.
See you, Braxton.
Good to see you too. Bye.
I don't know. So I could see him maybe he's trying to do something against the Federation.
Like I said, I think it's a classism thing. It's a class thing. It's like lower deckers need to unite against officers who are telling us to go do things to get us killed.
Jack Quaid is also playing Superman in that Superman show, The Adventures of Superman. So
he's got a lot.
Jack Quaid is genuinely
he's in so much good stuff then right now because he's also in The Boys, isn't he?
Yep, he's and he's an Oppenheimer.
And he was in Scream 5. He was so good.
Yeah,
oh,
I didn't see that one.
So
Jack Quaid is. The rest of the world noticed that Jack Quaid was talented, and they're taking him away. Which is so I'm like, good for you, but also come do my thing.
The nerds need you.
Yeah, I don't know when the new season of The Boys is coming out either. That must be coming up soon.
I've never watched it. I've
have
seen
not
clips
watched
and I've
The
heard
Boys.
good
It's a
things.
little graphic. But I've seen here and there. But he's great in it. He's great in everything. He's just a really good actor, and people are recognizing that, which is good for him and happy for him. But we want you in Trek more. I feel like the Strange New Worlds episode really set up some great Boimler Mariner stuff, and then we really haven't gotten much of that this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they just were wanting to draw out the other friendships. We got to see a lot more of Boimler and Rutherford and Mariner and Tendi. So they're we want to establish that they're not just friends by association. They're actually friends.
Right.
Yeah. Lower decks. Lower decks.
Lower decks. Lower decks.
And also maybe Jack Quaid was just really busy.
Yeah. True.
I'm now Googling the actress that played the one whose name we keep forgetting. Because I was
From
just
the
curious.
First Duty? Yeah.
Yes.
To see if
she's still acting.
Okay.
She is.
So it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought overall this episode was exciting. You had all these big name drops. You had Boimler as a Bev head. I love that he's teach me how to tap dance, Dr. Crusher. Yes, Boimler.
I was has he looked up clips of the dancing doctor?
Probably. I mean, he's deep dive that. I'm shocked that Boimler isn't where's Beverly? I always thought maybe the Lower Deckers would have an episode where they'd be all the conspiracy theories, and they're what happened to Beverly Crusher? She just disappeared. We don't know.
Boimler, how do you feel about being a candle?
Yeah.
I
don't go Sub Rosa.
think by the way, on Star Trek Online right now, there's the Halloween mission. You get that candle. That's the prize.
I saw that. Not impressed, but listen. It's
Considering-
almost Halloween.
Considering my character is a Tommy gun from a First Contact mission, I was like,
Oh,
okay, it's
there you
always
go.
that silly. Like,
But yeah,
No.
I would get a big laugh if somehow Jean Hajar came to
Yeah.
be the big bad.
That would be
I
great.
do not. Well, I
Deep
don't
cut
think he's
for
gonna be in
sure.
it. I that would be really funny. That would be like a most popular girls in school shit. Like that would be hilarious.
But there's
Like-
also is it just us? Is it that we struggle, or do all fans struggle with remembering who that?
I
character
don't
is?
think anybody really remembers
I don't.
her.
I
People probably know, like the fans that really like,
yeah.
just catalog everything. Like
I
they
would
know,
say
but
I have a pretty good memory. I like no memory of that girl's name.
it is a super deep cut. I
Yeah.
would say that would be like probably a bridge too far, but you never know.
It would have to be that. It would have to be that was the joke.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you forget me? I was there
Yeah.
too.
My name.
Or it'd be hilarious if actually everyone forgot that she was involved in it, so her career in Starfleet has been fine.
It just
Like
they were like, who? You're
It's
not
just
getting demoted. You're not getting that year off your record.
Yeah.
I think we never really followed up with her, so it would
Yeah.
be interesting.
I would say Cedo actually like Cedo obviously has some lines
Mhm.
in the first duty. It's Lower Decks that like is when I think of Cedo Jackson, I think of Lower Decks, the episode.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
She
Yeah, I'd
did
love to
stand
see
out
any of the other
though.
characters from either.
I
episode,
think it was probably
either
what
the
I
CD or
imagine
Lower
is she probably stood out more than Cedo Jackson had been like intended to, and so that's probably why they're like, let's bring her back for this thing.
She was memorable.
Hmm
I think it also makes sense that they brought back Cedo specifically with the Cardassian
Bajoran
with
connection.
story
with the
timeline,
Bajoran,
her being Bajoran.
it that also did work
Or-
well, but I think there's a reason they didn't just like create a new Bajoran character
Yes.
to have like
Mhm.
everyone else is new except Nurse Ogawa is new.
Hmm.
But for that, they're like, no, let's bring this character that is not established to be on the Enterprise till this point.
Yeah.
What makes us emotionally invested in her?
Yes.
Because we know that she was friends with Wesley. We
Mhm.
know what she went through, and then like through Picard's eyes, that whole tense scene where he's dressing her down, you know. And you wonder, like, I rewatched it because I'm thinking, is Mariner pissed at Picard or just the system, or is she like, I don't ever want to be like my mom or Picard
Yeah.
because they had to
I would
order
say
her to
she's-
do, and she wasn't ordered. She volunteered, but like
Yeah.
they basically laid out, listen, we kind of need you for this, but
Mhm.
we, you know, and Picard struggled with it a little bit, but you wonder if Mariner's
I would say Mariner's never had a negative reaction to the at least once Picard is mentioned on the show.
yeah. Hmm.
And she obviously has an adversarial relationship with her mom. She doesn't hate her mother though.
No.
Like,
But I think it's one of those things where you, as the captain, have to sometimes send people. I mean,
yeah.
Picard and Jack Crusher, the OG Jack Crusher,
Mhm.
prime example, you know? So, just to clarify. Because now we have to.
Original crush.
Yes. The OG.
Yeah.
Jack R.
That would it.
Mhm. Yeah, I wonder what she saw in the Dominion War. Like, where did she serve? What was going on? Like,
Yeah.
what,
Well,
like,
I know she was serving on Deep Space Nine. Was she on the Defiant? Because I saw some pretty fucked up shit there. Like with them. Like you have, where Nog loses a leg. Is she in that battle? Like
that was a really good storyline with Nog.
mhm.
I feel like we will. I mean, I know I said we want to. It's going to want to keep the story focused on the lower decks, but I feel like if this is kind of a culmination of Mariner's arc, we'll get some flashbacks. And like I said, I'd really love to see alternative perspectives of things we've already seen like that.
Mm-hmm. This is true. That's what it was. Whether you could send someone to your death is what Riker's
For Troy.
Yeah, for Troy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I got the impression that was like a test everyone was taking. It wasn't just Riker fucking with his ex-girlfriend.
No.
Like,
Not his ex-girlfriend, like his friend /
yeah.
occasional Stallions.
I will
you know.
say the way to make the most sense out of Picard and not Picard for Riker and Troy during the thing of TNG is they're like in an open like situationship with each other that became like, oh, actually we're like we romantic again.
Yeah, it's an interesting road for those two.
Yeah.
Would have been a lot less complicated if I just picked that ship. I usually don't.
Yeah.
I didn't ship anybody on TOS, so I don't know what I was thinking. But listen, I have to get going.
Yeah, we should probably. It's about time to wrap up.
Right.
I think it's a good call.
Yeah. I guess this episode is really good, and to be fair, any episode that ends with a to be continued, we're gonna try to figure out what the to be continued is.
Right. True.
I
think somebody else has to appear in the finale because they're making this big deal of don't say anything. They're not releasing it. You know.
But also it is fucking insane to see Nick Locarno again. It's like.
Character who appeared in one episode in 1990.
Yeah. Let's be honest.
Three.
I'm gonna say something. People would not care about Nick Locarno if he wasn't played by an actor who went on to star in Star Trek Voyager.
True.
Yeah, I also think it just was a slap in the face to the writers, not just to make Tom Paris Nick Locarno, because he is Nick Locarno. Yeah. He has his backstory basically.
I would say
and
the
they just.
To me is
I said this the other
enough.
week about the Vulcan character too. Barrick and Tarek.
Yeah.
Tarek.
But they are established to be brothers, by the way.
That's stupid. I hate it.
They look the same.
I thought it was Tarek. I didn't realize that they were brothers. This whole we can't pay them residuals thing. It's irksome, but I want
to be more mad.
I don't get it, but
he was he was a nepo hire. He's one of the producer's sons.
Mm-hmm. So I guess those who get screeners, they haven't gotten the last episode yet.
Nope.
Paramount's playing it close to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I respect the game but although they did release, Picard season 3 had some pretty big spoilers, and they released them. So
I will say I don't get screeners. I sometimes have access to other people.
Yeah, I don't either.
Screeners.
Yeah.
They also released the last 2 episodes of Picard closer.
Right. Yeah.
They held them close to the chest as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a real bigwig. They let me watch it at midnight Pacific.
Yeah, I know. Listen, that's 3 a.m. Eastern over here, so you know.
Same. That's where I'm at. I'm on East Coast.
It's rough for East Coasters. You just kind of go to sleep and then immediately watch it when you wake up. Don't go on your phone.
I have to if I don't have access to someone's screeners, I have to do that because I work in the morning. I can't just stay up super late as I work at 8 a.m.
Yep.
But my final score is 10 out of 10. I love this episode.
This episode's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say 9 out of 10 just because I'm ready for the Mariner stuff to go deeper and I wanted more Boimler.
Mm-hmm.
And also that opener was funny, but also
gross.
And you didn't notice the thing on your back? And now the guy's eyes popped out.
I actually, that reminded me of once I during the pandemic, I had an inflatable pool in my backyard. And I got out of the pool and I was FaceTiming my mom. And then on the FaceTime thing, I noticed a spider on me. So it was reminding me of that.
Oh, no.
So then my mom picked up and she picked it to me. She's being she's like, what's happening? Why did you call me to scream at your phone?
Not great. Hopefully we don't get any surprises like that next episode.
No, thank you. But did not like.
Yeah. I don't know what the character equivalent of that would be. So let's just.
Yeah, so I'd say 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. This is a great episode, and
yes,
I think that's pretty much what
I
got to
can't
say
wait
about
to see it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let's I guess I love this episode. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's really good and I can't wait till next week. And so thanks for hanging out with me, and I guess live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Thanks for having me, Rachel.